Nefarious is a Christian horror movie about demonic possession, but this isn't your typical horror exorcism movie directed by atheists that just uses Christianity. This is actually written, directed, and produced by two Christian filmmakers, the filmmakers behind God's Not Dead and Do You Believe? And to my surprise, this was a really well-made movie that has some major flaws, but also some very unique things about it. If you're a Christian and love watching movies, this is definitely one that you should check out. But also, if you don't believe in God and the devil, this film is trying to change your mind. And here's how. So Nefarious is about a convicted serial killer who gets a psychiatric evaluation on the day of his execution. An atheist psychiatric questions him about his reasons for committing murder, but the killer claims that he is actually a demon that possessed the man's body, and further claims that before their time is over, the psychiatric will commit 3 murders himself. Nefarious is pretty much a one-location movie. Like, most of this film is just 2 characters in a room talking. And this is more interesting, thought-provoking, and entertaining to watch than it sounds. But just a heads up, if you look at the poster and the trailer of the film, it is marketed as a spooky, scary, horror movie, which it isn't. This is a psychological, or should I say spiritual thriller that is very dialogue based. There aren't any like disturbing, violent, crazy images that you expect from a possession, exorcism kind of movie. There is some violence, but it's very realistic and down to earth and nothing too crazy. Probably the biggest influence on this movie were the Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis, which I recently read and absolutely loved. This novel is, of course, some of the best and most creative apologetical writing about a master demon teaching an apprentice about the craft of tempting a human being. And Screwtape Letters is probably the best examination, exploration on the nature of evil that has ever been made through art. And Nefarious tries a very similar thing, kind of exploring the nature of evil through dialogues, different points of view, and breaking down the spiritual elements of evil in a very down-to-earth way that takes this into practical things, like actual practical things in which the spiritual realm is working in our lives. And the movie actually does a really good job with that for the most part. The dialogues are well written, the actor playing the demon does an amazing job, like he just delivers a powerhouse of a performance, and he clearly does a lot with his acting, but he never overacts, like he never does too much. The problem is when it comes to his counterpart, like the actor who plays the psychiatric, is really miscast from my view, and like his performance is nowhere near the performance of the demon character. And this matters, like this hurts the movie a lot. Like with a chamber piece like that, if you just break down a movie to the basic ingredients, each and every detail will make a lot of difference. And if you have like one performance out of 2 performances that just isn't good, it really hurts the movie. The directing is very straightforward, and while it's effective, like it does what it should be doing when it comes to how the scenes are shot, most of the movie is really bland looking. Like it's shot, reverse shot, close-ups of people talking. It's a very big opportunity that you don't have a lot to look at in this movie. Like there isn't much thought and creativity put behind the way it was filmed. It's edited really well, but the generically shot material just only goes so far. This is certainly a well-crafted movie that has a lot of missed opportunity when it comes to the creativity on a visual level. Like I said, the screenplay kind of rolls out the nature of evil and Satan and the devil in like very interesting ways, but it's not without its issues. First of all, the perspective and character of the demon is really inconsistent. We never actually find out what kind of personality the serial killer has. We find out a lot about his demon, and it kind of looks like the human in and of itself was innocent and it was all the demon doing it. And that's, I don't know, that's kind of problematic to me, like completely eradicating the sinfulness when somebody gets possessed by a demon. I don't know anything about that topic. It just seems a little bit off to me. Another thing, like in Screwtape Letters, we have good and evil reversed. So everything that's good is talked about as it was evil, and everything that's evil is talked about like it's good. So everything it's on its head, everything is reversed. Nefarious, on the other hand, does tackle the story in this kind of way, but then again, you have the demon talking about evil things like they're evil at some point. There is a really effective part where they talk about abortion, and the demon actually says that how evil abortion is. Yes, I agree, but you kind of have to do these mental jumps while watching the movie, and all of these mental jumps and all of that really breaks apart when the film kind of goes off the rails with its concept in the final 20 minutes, where I honestly don't really know what was happening. It was all very confusing in the end. The ending is very messy, and given how smart the screenplay was before that, it feels very deliberate. The movie basically blends the line between demonic activity, sinfulness, and the actual power of God in a way where you can't tell which is which. After watching the movie, you definitely don't get like a foul taste as if you have seen something satanic. This is very pro-God. And I love that the movie doesn't sacrifice the boldness and layers for that. Like it still keeps that, but it was something missing for me here. I get that having like a conversion scene in a movie may feel like a bit over the top, and it's really hard to write that into a screenplay in a way where it feels organic. But I'm disappointed that they didn't go at all for that. Like you don't have a conversion here. Like the main character doesn't really find God, and because of that, Nefarious definitely becomes a great conversation starter. But given how specific and literal the whole movie is, it doesn't feel right if you had all these deep, specific exploration of the devil. It just needed the same exploration when it comes to God, I think. But I don't think this is a bigger issue than just lazy filmmaking. The ending has this typical horror twist to it. If this is supposed to be a Christian movie, I don't really think that it should have its place there. And if this is a horror movie, like this ending, when it comes to how scary it's supposed to be, this is nothing compared to a real proper horror movie. I love that this is a truly independently made movie, like outside of the system. And the filmmakers, like I've seen a bunch of interviews with them, they really seem to see their filmmaking as a ministry, just like they see it as an opportunity to exercise the craft and creativity artistry of filmmaking. Nefarious was only shot in 13 days, and the behind the scenes stories of this movie that you can look up online are actually pretty crazy. Here are some. They actually had a lot of spiritual attacks during the whole production of the movie. The prison where parts of this movie were shot, I mean, most of it is on a film set, but parts of it they did shoot at one of the prisons that has a history of like being some of one of the most violent prisons in America. And parts of this prison like seem to be haunted. There were like some weird things going on with the electricity, and they were shooting the movie, and like a couple feet next to where they were shooting the movie was a guy behind bars that ate another guy. So that was like seemed to be like a very specific situation. The priest they had working on this movie as like an advisor had to go suddenly go to the hospital because of some health conditions, which was weird. The whole crew actually also got sick with COVID, and one of the two directors also had to be hospitalized, which slowed down the production. There were many very weird car accidents during the movie and during production. Tech was not working like it was supposed to be working, and there was actually also like one of the actors found out that his firstborn child was born like only seconds before filming the first take of the whole movie, and he still decided to finish the shooting day, which is really crazy, actually, like really commendable. I don't think that I would have done that in his place. And the movie's priest that I already mentioned even had to do an exorcism for the room where the press junket was being held at before the press junket started. These stories are all crazy, and I don't think that they tell this to promote this movie. They actually seem earnest when you listen to the filmmakers talking about that. When it comes to the future of Nefarious, the team actually want to make a whole series out of this IP. I don't think that I will be watching the series just because I did have my issues with this movie personally. But I have to say that Nefarious was such an interesting, important and unique movie. Like Christians can actually do these dark, serious, spooky movies, and I definitely want to see more of this kind of Christian filmmaking. Alright guys, this is it for my review today. Have you seen Nefarious? What do you think about it? I'm actually curious to hear that because like the ending was really weird. I thank you so much for watching my review right here. Wish you all a blessed day and hope to have you back in the next one.